Hello guys, it's me, the Tank, and next year, and today, this is the video everyone's been waiting for. Let's be honest, it is the video on the Tsar Tank. Let's be honest, this is everyone's favorite Russian design, especially from around the World War I period. Who cares about the FT, or the 3-ton, or the Mark IV? Everyone loves the giant Russian tricycle. Now, I want to talk about the designers first, because each of these designers are actually pretty interesting. So the Tsar Tank, also known as Netopir, which was a type of bat, or the Lebedenko tank, it was designed by Nikolai Zhukovsky, who is also known as the father of Russian aviation from his work on engines and plane designs. Nikolai Lebedenko, for who the tank was built, but this was really his biggest accomplishment in life. Boris Stechkin, who co-designed the Ilya Muromets bomber, a popular World War I bomber designed for the Russians, and Alexander Mikulin, who was a major aircraft and jet engine designer for the USSR, living until 1985, where he died at 90 years old. For someone born in 1895, dying at 90 is pretty damn impressive. Okay, especially after two world wars, the Great Purge, everything. That's pretty damn impressive, dude. I mean, this guy nearly saw a way through the entire Soviet Union. Like, that's crazy. But these designs are all pretty interesting because they have one common trait linking all of them except Lebedenko, who's kind of the crazy man out here. They all designed planes, and that's a really interesting feature in tank design in World War I, because obviously there weren't tank designers in World War I because that was when tanks are made. You can't have tank designers prepared if the concept isn't invented yet. So honestly, what happened is a lot of designers for other things took a crack at tanks. Last week we covered the Mendeyev tank, which was designed by a Naval Academy student, and you could see how that had a lot of influences on his design. Meanwhile, this was designed by a lot of aircraft students, so obviously it's going to be a lot different than just a normal tank. And I think that's a really interesting feature of World War I, where there were tank designers, because tanks didn't exist, so other random people took a crack at it. Took a crack at it. Jesus. Now, after the history, so the designers were essentially inspired by ancient wagons used by Chinese traders from the Silk Road instead of just caterpillar tracks used by, rational people. So, instead of using those, they made a giant tricycle. Yay! A tiny miniature model was essentially shown to the Tsar, and it crossed over tiny books and obstacles on the desk. Tsar Nicholas II being pretty wasted at the time, probably wasted during this, absolutely loved it and adored the concept and sponsored a prototype. Also, probably using money Russia didn't have. When it was built, it initially did very well in tests, crossing through and over trees and through trenches. But unfortunately, due to the weight miscalculations, the back wheel was far too heavy and sunk into the soft marshes of Russia. It was deemed an inadequate failure for this and sat there, sunk about 27 miles from Moscow, until being scrapped in 1923, which is a shame, because I would have loved seeing this thing in the museum. That would be a sight to behold, and that would be a great way to book a plane ticket to Russia, just for that reason. Now, onto the statistics. Just so you can get a sense of size for this thing, the two frontal wheels were about 30 feet in diameter, and the third wheel was a tall 5 feet. So if I stood next to the back wheel, I'd just barely be about a foot taller than it. It's very big. The upper cannon was 26 feet tall, with a 26-foot wide hull. It is insanely high. It had two more sponsons on the right and left edges of the hull, and two more cannons and a third in a top turret. Additional weapons would also be under the belly, and each wheel would be powered by a 250 horsepower Sunbeam engine, which was captured from a German Zeppelin. So this could move it along at a theoretical speed of 11 miles an hour, which is fairly impressive, especially for a giant tricycle. But it only ever reached a max of 5, which still for the time was decent enough. And it would have a 10-man crew. Of course it would. The Tsar Tank in general was a very strange design. A giant tricycle was far different compared to the caterpillar track industrial behemoths other nations made. Essentially, as they seemed much more normal in comparison, even the K-Wagon and Mendeleev tank seemed more rational. Even if it was irrational to actually produce, sorry, I wrote rational, irrational to actually produce, it would have been incompetent in the field. Let's say that the weight ratio is fixed so it wouldn't sink on the Russian slopes, and marshes. It would easily be destroyed with artillery field guns, especially with the giant wheels being easy targets. If you take down that one wheel or just damage it, that thing is screwed. It'll just move around in circles. This ridiculous design, while encapsulating everything I love about World War I tank design, was ridiculous in every shape, way, and form. I hope you enjoyed the video. Next week we'll start tackling American tanks. Let's go, America! Yay! If you can't tell, that's where I'm from. Let's go. So the videos may seem a little, what's the word, jingoistic, I think it is, when, you know, you love America. But, yeah, hope you guys are excited for that, and I'll see you then. Peace.